So another frequent question I get asked by early stage freelancers is, do you need a contract for freelance work? Now, again, I'm not a legal professional, no expert, and you may need to speak to professionals to set up an agreement or contract that you're going to use for your own business, but I can certainly give my view on this. First little point is around, it's actually grouped into one of those things that you could argue are excuses for not getting started. Like, I have to have all these things in place before I can get going. I always say, just get going, get started. Okay, it can be helpful to have these things in place, but don't use them as an excuse for you to not start your freelance business or to start promoting your services and telling other people in your network that you're available for work. You can always figure these things out as you go. But my view on them is, I do think it is good practice to have a basic agreement in place. If you you can download templates. As I say, you can pay a legal professional to create an initial template, which you can then just take bits out, which obviously the client name, the details of the project, the financial elements included. So you make it nice and easy for yourself to replicate. Keep it simple. I remember when I got my first template drawn up by a legal professional, it was over 18 pages long. It was just ridiculous. So I went back and spoke to somebody else and got a 2-pager drawn up, really straightforward. I think a couple of things it does, it just confirms the project. So when you send that to the client, and obviously they sign the agreement, you have that locked in, that you can then schedule your time with confidence that that's going to go ahead. I think fundamentally it's the payment that is actually the transaction that confirms the work. So getting a deposit down rather than a signed agreement, I would always argue is more valuable in terms of that work. And I've very rarely had to go back and, I mean, if you're looking at the contract after you've started, then there's clearly a problem with the client relationship. I've very rarely had to resort back to client agreements. So I'd like to think it's more in actually the qualification process, the sales process. If you're building good rapport and you're explaining what you're offering, you're asking good questions and you're establishing very clear outlines of what the project is going to be, or the retainer or the agreement or whatever, then the actual piece of paper or online document, for example, really doesn't matter too much. But it can be useful just to have that documented, have that logged, and then obviously everyone knows, say for example, if there was a disagreement on the payment terms or something like that, you have that document in place. So I do believe it's valuable. I do use them for all the projects that I work on. So as I say, keep it simple. Don't have a particularly long document. Just have those key points in there, and you may want to run that by a legal professional just to make sure you're ticking a few bits off. The second thing is make it easy as possible for your clients. Now, in this day and age, it's so frustrating, I find, if someone sends me a document they want me to print out and to sign, scan and everything. Like, in fact, it's not going to happen. So make it easy. There are so many tools, online tools, where you can send over documents to be e-signed. That still means it's a legitimate agreement. So have a very simple template, make it clear to the client what you need them to sign, where to do so, and do it over so it's over email, so it can be signed within seconds, to be honest. You get that document back. Don't overcomplicate these things and make it too difficult. As I said, caveat, I'm not a legal professional, so you may want to take advice, but that's my thoughts on whether you need agreements for your freelance work.